Hotel staff of Reddit, what was the most memorable thing you saw in guest's room? I was once delivering a food service tray to a young couple. After knocking and hearing, "Come in," I tried to fish the keys out of my pocket but just couldn't wrestle the tray, etc. So I called out that I couldn't open the door. The lady came to the door and tried to open it just a crack, but again we couldn't get the tray through the small opening. "Fuck this," she says and throws the door open. I was literally shocked because 1. She looked like a Victoria's Secret model and was wearing a really nice matching bra and French knicker set, purple with white lace in case you're wondering, and 2. Her boyfriend was coming out of the shower in his towel, dripping wet, looking like some kind of superhero caught between cases. All 3 of us laughed it off, but I'll never forget how both looked so shocked and yet were the hottest real-life couple I've seen ever since. Had a man that would stay with us every month or 2 for a single night. Probably mid-50s, short, unassuming, casual suit, about as bland and unnoticeable as possible. Would show up around 7 o'clock with luggage and alcohol, check in, and not come down until checkout. One night he called down because his TV wasn't working, and when he opened his door he was in full drag, dress, pantyhose, makeup, wig, but still spoke in his normal voice and acted like nothing was out of the ordinary. Mentioned it to the manager in the morning and it turns out he'd been doing it for years, just coming to the hotel, dressing in drag, getting drunk and watching TV by himself. No visitors, no phone calls, never left the room. I used to work as a chambermaid in a hotel, and one day my supervisor told me to inspect room 405 because a colleague was doing her rounds and hadn't returned. I entered said room quietly and walked in on another maid having sex with the hotel junior manager. She was mid-20s and he was 50-something. They didn't see me, I quietly exited and pretended I didn't see anything. I returned to my supervisor and said the room was empty as I didn't want to get involved. I had to clean up a room after a pimp got kicked out, so all the stuff was still in there and the room was completely trashed. The TV was smashed, chairs, table flipped and tossed, someone threw a bottle of lotion against a wall, and the whole room was covered motivational notes like "Get that dough" or "Hook a name, the breadwinner." There was also a vibrating dildo, a smashed iPhone, and some pants toting the line between really short shorts and a denim thong. I learned a lot about the fine art of hookery after the experience, like how much perfume they use to keep the room from smelling like jizz and disapproving head shakes from Jesus. Or how they use literal gallons of mouthwash and a ton of disposable toothbrushes. They must be training to become dentists. Overall, I think it was a good lesson into my career options if the whole hotel thing doesn't work out. As a guest, weirdest thing that ever happened was that a really cute blonde in a suit walked straight into my room. I was seated naked on the couch talking to my significant other and I jumped up in shock. Ensued a really awkward moment. Apparently she got the wrong room, plus her key card could open ours, a master key. Still not sure how this could ever happen. Hotel compensated us with champagne. Not staff, but a poo in the kettle was an interesting experience. My buddies and I created such a scenario once. We had just finished up the Marine Corps ball in Vegas and our buddy was still passed out drunk when we went to check on him. So we rolled him up in every sheet and blanket we could find so the cleaning staff would stumble across him, then waited in the room next door. Sure enough, the cleaning lady shows up and unearths a 4,245-pound Marine, much to both of their surprise. He screamed like a girl and she started swearing at him in Spanish. Shit was hilarious. An entire room set up to print fake payroll checks. Dot matrix printers, scanners, stacks of perforated blanks, lists of routing and account numbers, lists of social security numbers, etc. It was a group of 3 people and a pit bull. They were driving around in a stolen car and got pinched, so the cops came to investigate their room and after seeing the setup, got the feds involved. I still have a multi-tool that I found in their personal effects. Not sure what happened to the dog. Had to deal with a few people who were pretty obviously connected and in town for business. One was an incredibly attractive Hispanic lady who paid for everything with 100s, and entertained a steady flow of other, equally attractive ladies. She also tended to answer her door in underwear, which was cool. She left behind a few pairs of handcuffs. Another was a 6'5" Sicilian dude from Jersey who was named Mike Reynolds or some other made-up shit. The hallway outside his room reeked of weed, so we asked him to stop smoking in the room. He apologized for the smell, but said he hadn't been smoking any of it. We asked to come inside his room and, sure enough, there was no sign of him actually smoking. He just had half a pound of weed that was so dank you could smell it through 2 layers of plastic and a suitcase. I've seen so much dog, human shit, naked people, drug paraphernalia and sex toys that none of them are really memorable anymore, but it is surprising how many people leave loaded handguns in their rooms. As the owner of a bed and breakfast place for the last 8 years, the craziest thing I ever found was an old battered notebook with "Why I Love Salad" written on the front and then literally 40 to 80 pages on why salad was amazing. There'd be the occasional suggestion that the author believed salad to be alive in some sense. Looked like it had been written on and off over the course of several years. A woman came down to the front office and told me her TV isn't working and it needs to be fixed. I told her I could do it, but I would be in her room and if that's fine with her. She told me to go ahead and left the hotel. I went to her room and walked to the TV. Looking at her bed, I saw a ball choker, cuffs and a whip. I was like, damn girl. Well, I fixed her TV and saw her the next day on checkout. Not hotel staff, but I was visiting my mother's old college friend at a hotel in Jacksonville, Florida. My mom didn't say why we were going to go visit her in her hotel room of all places. Well, when we get to her room, I immediately noticed the air conditioner was turned all the way down and there were towels all over the floor. We walk in and she just grins and says, "Look in the bathroom." Well, as soon as we walked in, we noticed 6 penguins hopping in and out of the tub filled with ice. She worked for SeaWorld and apparently when they travel with the penguins, they hang out in the rooms with them. Was awesome. I've mentioned this before 44 days ago, in a very similar question on this subreddit, so I'm going to see if I can farm some more karma. A bear. First, you gotta understand that a lot needs to happen for this to occur. Our lowest floor was still about 1.5 meters from the ground, and each outside room had a balcony rail. However, a guest had decided to want to unload his motorcycle from his truck and leave the ramp down, so, I'm assuming, he could ride the bike up when he was done. The guest that was staying in the room had room service, decided to leave the food uncovered and the balcony doors open, and later went to the hotel pool, spa to relax. Upon returning, they had gone to us at reception and said that there was a bear in the room. Puzzled, we quietly approached the room and slowly opened the door. Lo and behold, there was a bear eating room service and making a mess of my afternoon. We called Parks Canada to deal with it. Guest was not charged a cleaning fee. TLDR, a bear used a car as a ramp to get into a room at the property. I was doing room service when I went to a room and James Earl Jones answered the door with no pants on. He was in the middle of getting dressed. I asked him if he could sign this for me. He replied, "I don't do autographs." I said, "No sir, it's your bill." Dead people. Sadly, if you work in this profession, on a long enough timeline, this will happen. Well, checked empty room left with doors wide open, on table was brown bag with over $20,000 cash. Tried to wake a guy up to check out, but he was dead. Basketball team used a toilet for communal poops, no flushing. All weekend. The entire toilet was encased in a mountain of poop. They must have had to stand on the ledge of the sink and lean over. Or straddle 1 foot on the bathtub and somehow not fall into it. It took devotion. Horrible and WTF at the same time. As someone who isn't hotel staff, I can say the most memorable I've found that the staff missed, a double-hole pen dildo in the bottom drawer of the bedside table. My friends and I were in Daytona for car shows and spring break. We got a huge laugh and the rest of the room was impeccably clean. They just didn't check the Bible drawer, ironically. I used to work in a hotel as a summer job and was the first one to enter a room when a guest had left. This hotel had some very expensive rooms. One day I was greeted with a disgusting smell while entering one of the expensive rooms. The bath was flooded, the shower was used as a toilet, leftover food was scattered on the carpet. The best part was a trash bag full of human waste next to the bed. Closed the door and rang my boss. The hotel had to completely renovate the whole room and the guest was charged a not out small amount of money, don't remember how much exactly. This was the worst case that I came across, but it happens more often than you think. Thanks for watching. What would be your response? Leave it in the comments and see what the others say. Please also like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care.